The following podcast is a presentation of Small Biz America. This is Beyond Networking, and now, here's your host, Ron Sukenick.
Well, hello and welcome to Beyond Networking Being with Ron Sukenick, and I am Ron Sukenick, and I don't know. It's always great to be with everybody, and I certainly thank all of you for listening and sharing it with friends. I love the emails that I get, and you keep pushing me to be all I can be and bringing on some great people. And so my question to everybody again is this same thing. What are you doing to make the most from the contacts you're making? And I know that you agree. Experience shows that you're not together very long. And if you think that you're going to go out and just pass some business cards, make some follow-up calls, and shake some hands, I think you're making a mistake. We have to get way beyond networking, and that's what this show is all about. Every week, if you're listening for the first time, every week we invite on innovative thinkers, thought leaders, people on the forefront of making things happen, and they come and they share their passion for the work they do. And today is a long-awaited guest. I'm so thrilled. Adam Kovitz is on the call today. Just really pretty straightforward. Big guy, executive director of the Relationship Networking Industry Association, and the CEO and founder and publisher of the National Networker. Adam, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Ron. I appreciate it. Good to be here.
And I really want the audience to know something, Adam. I met you so many years ago, and, there's only so many people, and I'm talking to the people listening to this podcast, that take on big responsibility to make something happen. And I got a glimpse of Adam years ago when, in fact, he had launched his national networker. And I said to myself, wow, this is more than just a great idea. This is what's needed to bring this industry together. So, Adam, I admired you before for doing that. I admire you now. And I'm just curious, could you lead us up to the point? I mean, I know you love networking. I know you've been around it. I think you're the king of networking. I've heard that somewhere. But how do you get to that level where you decide to put together a national networker?
It's very interesting. The story of the national networker comes out of my decision to leave the world of to leave behind the world that I knew of engineering, rocket science, and IT. I was a project manager at the tail end of my technical career, and for me that was really all I knew up until about 2000, and then but I was really feeling drained at the time, and just before the big bubble in the .com industry burst, I got out. I had a son who was born at the time, and I was really looking at the human element and how we've been spending all this time networking our computers together, and the internet was still very young. We weren't really using it to the extent that we use it today, and And I got to this point where I said, what about the people driving this? Why are we doing this? What's the real reason? And understanding that motivation led me into consulting, management consulting. And so I began to look at the human interactions that took place in teams. So when you have a group of people that get together, either wonderful things happen or not so wonderful things happen.
Okay.
But when we talk about teams, we're really talking about a network. We're talking about a group of people that are coming together for some unified purpose, we hope, and things happen. So that was really my intro into it. I've always had a natural, I come from a line of entertainers. People in my family have been professional musicians, so we've always been outgoing, and I never quite fit into the engineering role. Because
now, do you play an instrument, Adam? Is that what I'm hearing?
I played drums a little bit, and I really sing. I had my own barbershop quartet for a while. That was a lot of fun.
No, come on, be serious.
Yeah, I'm
really?
kidding. I kid you not. Yeah.
Now you're not going to sing on this podcast, are you?
No, you'd have to pay me for that right now.
Okay, I'd have to pay. but Adam, help me out. The national networker. Somehow you think hanging out there in Pennsylvania, the fine state of Pennsylvania, that you are going to take on a national initiative.
That was the So the management consulting thing really began working itself out, and I got into BNI, which I'm sure you're familiar with. I used that to grow my business. I eventually became a director for them for a while, and
no, I'm not familiar with BNI. What is that?
You're not familiar with BNI? Okay.
Of course. Who doesn't know about BNI?
It's become a household name, and all the more power to folks like Dr. Ivan Meisner for starting it. He's always been a bit of a hero of mine. What I was really impressed with, when I first read World's Best Known Marketing Secret, when I first got the book, I said to myself, I've been doing networking for so long now. It's like, how could you write a book about this? What could what is there? I can't believe somebody actually wrote a book about networking. What you talk to people, and I was really impressed because I found that there's a whole lot more to it, and that was really impressive. So I began to read a lot, and after a while, my reading had diminishing returns because it began to be more about the same, and I'm one of those people. I go through information pretty quickly, and I get kind of bored with the mundane. So I was at a point back in 2004 where I started doing a lot of research around on where the different networking organizations out there beyond BNI. What else were people getting value from? And I was looking at, I got to this point where I kind of became one of those geeks that just happened to know a lot of what seemed to be trivial information at the time, but people kept coming up to me and saying, Adam, where do I go? Where do I go? Where do I go to network? And I said, asking me that question is like going up to a financial advisor and saying, I got $100,000, what do I invest it in? And this person doesn't know you. So I began to realize, there's more here than meets the eye. Every network is an asset, and much like a mutual fund, bond fund, or hedge fund. So every network has is run by a group of people that we hope are competent and add to the bottom line. We invest something in it, whether it's not always money, but sometimes it's time. We hope to get a return on that investment, and then, of course, at the very end, the other aspect of that is that if we do it in the right way and we build the right networking portfolio, we'll get fantastic returns.
And by the way, I didn't mean to interrupt right there, but I'll tell you what I'd like to do. I really want to get this out. I want to suggest to everybody listening that they sign up for the National Network. I just got to get that out. And to sign up for the National Network, all you have to do is what, Adam?
All you have to do is go to our website. It's www.thenationalnetworker.com. That's THE, nationalnetworker.com. And you'll see sign up for our newsletter. It's absolutely free. We come out 4 times a month into your inbox, and you can read from close to 40 writers across the globe now, including Ron Sukenick. You may have heard of him.
Including Ron.
He's a bit of a character, but we love him anyway.
But I'll tell you this, Adam. If I met you for the first time, I said, Adam, what is the National Networker? What do you tell people?
The National Networker is really 2 things. It's a very positively spun Consumer Reports of networking, and it's also the voice of the relationship networking industry. You mentioned how you wanted to know how the National Networker came about. It was my connection to the financial services industry that I began to see that networking is really an industry, and no one's really tapping into that. No one really sees that. I saw it, and I wasn't sure what to make of it at the time. I began looking for validation, but I didn't really find it too many places. I was kind of like the guy standing on the street corner with the end of the world is coming soon kind of sign, and everybody just totally ignores them. That was me. But what was interesting is that I began it as just a real simple newsletter with 900 readers. I grew up in Jersey, so most of my contacts were out of Jersey or Pennsylvania, New York, or Delaware. And today between, we have a website now. This is 3 years down the road. We have a website, we have a blog, we have a podcast, we have the original newsletter. Of course, it's been updated and all sorts of other things. But and now we have a circulation of 45 to 50,000, and we're growing. We're very happy about that. We're really excited about that. The challenge is on for us to continue to provide the best in networking. We want to be able to answer the question for the folks that are out there, where do I go to network and get some meaning? And that meaning could be money, it could be clients, it could be information, it could be a number of things. There's a lot of reasons why we choose to network. But where do we find meaningful connections? And so we like to give you that every week in the National Networker.
And you do a good job at that. It's amazing pulling this together, Adam.
And
for those listening, he breaks it down into regions, so I can really get connected in Asia Pacific, Canada, Great Lakes, Mid-Atlantic, New England, Southeast, Southern Plains, Northern Plains, and then what Adam has done is break it down into departments, okay? Arts, career transition, entrepreneurial, financial, legal, multicultural networking, network marketing, politics, real estate, social networking. My God, there's so much going. And then, of course, if that wasn't enough, everybody, there's columns, okay? Creativity and networking, jet netting, net being, whatever that is, of course, with Ron Sukenick, no doubt. Networking success with the Ivan Meisners, Jay Durgan, strategy, what say you? Certainly networking. I mean, look, Adam, there's just too much. I mean, be honest with the group right now. If I sat down and read your entire publication in one sitting that you delivered to my desktop, how many days do I have to put aside?
It's funny because as we began to grow, there was a transition time between us being strictly a newsletter, an electronic newsletter, and the website, where I had some people telling me this is, and of course before we had the website, we had to print the entire article in the newsletter. So I have some people telling me this is the longest email I've ever gotten. This is the longest newsletter. What are you doing? To everything. But then I'd have people who would have bragging rights. Say, I actually sat there all night and I read the entire thing. And it was almost like they ran the New York City Marathon. I thought it was pretty cool. So you never know what you're going to get. But despite all that, there's you can look at this on so many levels, Ron. We want to give something of value every week. We don't ask for anything in return other than for you to continue to read us and continue to love our articles. And if you think we're going in the wrong direction, just pop us an email. We're pretty easygoing folks. Pop an email to info@thenationalnetworker.com. Voice your opinion. If you like the direction we're taking, great. We want to continue doing that. If you don't, we'll move it, because really networking is about the voice of the people, and it's our responsibility. I consider it my responsibility as the head of the National Networker to continue providing something of service. People want to know what's out there. They just want to know what the opportunities are, and we're here to give it to them.
So what I want to do is I want to move on just a little bit, Adam. So for those that are tuning in for the first time, and certainly as you know, today we're speaking with Adam Kovitz, okay, Executive Director for the Relationship Networking Industry Association and the CEO and founder and the editor, chief editor and publisher of the National Networker. And I want to move away from this, but I just want everybody to know something. You got to take a look at the current issue of the National Networker, right? That's thenationalnetworker.com. You need to subscribe because it's a free newsletter. Then what I'm suggesting that everybody do is you go to learn more about Adam Kovitz, but you got to take a look at his writing, because he comes in with the laws of relationship capital, part 1, part 2, part 3. I think you're up to 4th law.
We're actually up to the 5th now, Ron.
Oh, the 5th one. Okay, and I know you're going to keep going, but I just want to make sure everybody gets this. This is a great learning for those that want to get beyond networking. That everybody talks about relationships, Adam. My question to you is, why is it that it's so hard to find people to want to do it? They talk about it, but they do very little about it. Do you agree with that, and why do you think it is?
I think I do agree with that, Ron. I don't know that people choose to necessarily say, I'm going to go out and say that I'm all about networking and building relationships, yet I'm going to deliberately ignore what I need to do to develop meaningful relationships. What I think the issue is that there is a language that we have yet to develop successfully. And that language is a language built around relationships and the quantification of what I call relationship capital. And that level of relationship capital is really what determines. There are some people that we know are absolute naturals, that just live and breathe it every day, and they just understand it inherently. But not everybody gets it that way. And other people, and I believe it's something that can be developed. And I believe it is something that when we learn to quantify and we learn the language around relationship capital, that we can begin to focus on the right things we need to do to make it a reality and to build the right relationships. I don't think that we've ever really felt as a society. I'm not just talking the United States. I'm not just talking any other. I'm talking about a global human society that we've really figured out how to make it happen without trying to control things, trying to overstep our bounds. This is something that clearly cannot be controlled, but nonetheless there has to be a common language. So there's a paradox to this, but it's one that we're working on dealing with in organizations like RNIA, the Relationship Networking Industry Association.
Yeah, and by the way, I want to move into that. And by the way, the other day in a conversation with David Noor, who's as I'm sure you know, is a relationship strategist,
sure.
He made the comment that most people are really into the art of relationships as opposed to the science.
Sure.
So that's how he draws his distinction. But let's move. Look, there's no doubt, Adam, you're coming back on this program because I know I get emails from people, and they want more. So we can't get through everything. But I want to jump into two things. I want to jump right over to RNIA,
okay.
And I want to make an introduction there. And then I want to talk a little bit about a new book that you're part of, which I think is groundbreaking. And by the way, the Relationship Networking Industry Association, RNIA, and I am proud to say that I am one of the founding members of that organization. I support it. It's got a mission, everybody, is to maximize the opportunities and value of the relationship economy by offering a neutral ground on which members can collaborate to provide standards and enable certification. So, Adam, help me out here, okay? Maybe it's the rocket scientist in you. Somehow, you're just not happy just hanging out and being in a barbershop quartet. You want to take on this big national thing. You start the national networker. Then somehow you're taking on an entire industry. So how did this thing happen, and how's it going?
Well,
and how can people get involved?
Sure. There are a lot of questions there. The RNIA is... When I sat back in 2004 and realized, basically when I superimposed the networking industry, the relationship networking industry, over top of the financial services industry and did a gap analysis, I realized that there were a lot of pieces missing. So it first needed a voice, and that's the national networker, which we've talked about. The next thing it was going to need as an industry was this foundation, this foundational support, this common language, this quantification of relationship capital as a metric to be used in everything we do. So that became the basis of founding RNIA. Through the work that I did with the National Networker and some of the articles I published, I was contacted by a few people, one of which was Norm Myers of a company called eFirm, who basically said, we got to talk and said, I really like the work that you're doing. Obviously, you're big on networking, and you have a great publication. Don't you think it's time, since you've talked about networking as an industry, don't you think it's time to start an association? I said, well, I know that there have been attempts to start associations before around networking, but they really haven't been very successful. They haven't really taken off, and it's been very much an uphill battle. I said, well, the uphill battle part I agree with, but we would really like your involvement. I said, okay, well, how can I help? Well, that's the interesting thing. We'd like you to run it. So I was somewhat flabbergasted about that, and but the good news is that I built up the national networker to a place where it was pretty much self-sustaining, and it could run itself with really minimal help from my part. So I figured the time was right, and I would step up to the plate and become the executive director and continue to grow this. And it is an uphill battle. It's a big goal that we have to really set up a foundation for an entire industry. So how's it going? It's going rather well. We've continued to build up our base of founding members, including folks such as yourself. We're very grateful for that, including BNI, which we've already talked about. Very grateful for their help, and there are others that are coming in too. But we're talking now with companies large and small, folks who are early adopters, people who get that there is money to be made in this industry and would like to monetize better relationship networking. I think one of the big issues that we have right now is that large corporations and others understand intuitively that we need to network to survive. However, we're not really sure what the return on investment is for things. And you look at any of the major social networks today, look at LinkedIn, look at Facebook. They still have not managed to become profitable, yet money still continues to be poured into them. Why is that? So we believe that there's something there, but we believe it could be so much more.
So where do you need, if somebody listening to this, Adam, really wants to get involved with the RNIA, so first of all, the way they find you is they go to rnia.org. Is that correct? rnia.org is the website, and for those who are interested in looking further at what we do have a common body of knowledge. It tends to be really, if you take a look over it, it's the rules. We have a glossary of terms. We've had groups of people, volunteers working literally day and night on developing this foundation, both from the standpoint of technological infrastructure to the education of such a thing. We're working with groups like the Rochester Institute of Technology, Dr. Susan Barnes over there from the Social Computing Lab, who is actually developing a course in relationship capital. It's going to be built around the CBOC, or the common body of knowledge that we're developing. So there are things that are happening. We're working with NYU. We're beginning talks with larger organizations, Fortune 500s, as well as folks who are just trainers, consultants who want to be part of this thing. It's like we're coming together and writing the Constitution of the United Nations of networking, and it's really a lot of fun. It could be. There can be a lot of banter going back and forth. There are times where we have quite heated discussions, but at the end of the day, we're building something that's very real, that's very tangible. And that's what we love. And I love that. I love that about you, Adam, and what you're doing. Let me ask you a question so I can get into this. So people can go to RNIA, which stands for Relationship Networking Industry Association.org. Mm-hmm. They can join.
Yes.
Is there a fee involved in joining RNIA at this time?
At this time, there is no fee. We do ask that people fill out, if they're interested and would like to find out more, they would fill out a member interest application, which is available through the website. And we're not asking for any fees for those folks who want to get involved. What we are asking for those people who can afford it and believe in what we're doing and want to back us, again, such as folks like yourself, we have a founding member program, and we can. I'm certainly glad to tell you more about that if you email members@rnia.org.
Okay, so we're talking with Adam Kovitz. We talked about the national networker. We certainly talked about RNIA. But I really want to, in the few moments we have left, Adam, I'm really intrigued with this new book, The Emergence of the Relationship Economy, The New Order of Things to Come. And and you've contributed to it, and you've got such great people like Scott Allen and Jay Derrigan and Margaret Oram and I believe Carter Smith.
Carter Smith, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Tell me about this. This book is pretty incredible.
Yeah, we're talking about how, and what's really nice is that if you're familiar with the book, The Clue Train Manifesto, this has been acknowledged by one of the authors, who, by the name of Doc Searles, who actually wrote the foreword to this book. He acknowledges this as a continuation of that, for what the Clue Train Manifesto was for the initial internet boom that took place when the book first came out in 1998, talking about how the internet was going to change business as people knew it. To now, this is sort of the Web 2.0 version of that book, but it expands on a lot of those initial themes. And the authors that put this book together believe in something called the relationship economy. We believe we're moving towards a relationship economy. We cannot have financial capital unless we have that relationship capital, and that of course means building the right relationships. So,
and you've got the 10 laws, I believe, in the book of the relationship capital.
Yeah, I introduced the 10 laws. What happened, Ron, was back. I guess it was in.
Is that kind of like the 10 Commandments?
Was,
can I get these 10 relationship laws like on 2 stone tablets or something? Or
you know what? In time, we just might do that. We just might do that. You gave me a fantastic idea. The laws of relationship capital are really built around basic truths and some thought experiments that I've gone through. And I began releasing the 10 laws. I'm very good friends with Jay Derrigan, and I gave him a list of them, just written out on paper. And I said, "What do you think? I just want your honest opinion. What do you think?" He goes, "This is fantastic." And what I did was I released I figured I was in the national network, I was going to do a 10-part series on the laws of relationship capital, and I was going to expand upon each and every one of the laws that I came up with, and talk about some of the thought experiments behind it and some of the various implications of these laws, which are quite fascinating, and really, I believe relationship capital is the closest thing we have at the moment to Einstein's unified field theory. But I'm not going to go into that right now. But the point is that after I released the first one, Jay said to me, "This is fantastic. Could you put this into could you develop this into a chapter? Do you have all the laws written out?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Could you put this into a chapter for us so we can put it in our book?" I said, "I'd be happy to." And of course he gave me some crazy deadline like, "Can you get it done by tomorrow night?" And so I did. I got it done, and so we now have a book. In fact, it's been available on ebook for over a month now, and now it came out. I got it mailed, the actual physical copy mailed to me in hard copy yesterday, and actually it was 2 days ago. And what a great thing to see your own work appear before you. Well, you know that you're an author. You've written books. So
it's really great. We're speaking. And I keep mentioning the name, Adam Kovitz, who's the Executive Director for the Relationship Networking Industry Association and the CEO and founder and publisher of the National Networker. Adam, let me get a couple of things back out for everybody. If people want to learn more about the National Networker, and just keep me focused on this, they go to thenationalnetworker.com.
Correct.
When they get there, we're going to suggest that people go ahead and subscribe. Get a free newsletter, and then I'm asking everybody to do this. I want you to go ahead and tell no less than 100 people to do the same thing. So that's number one. We'll get into a little viral thing. Then what we knew is that Adam not only took on that big responsibility, but he went ahead and became the executive director for the Relationship Networking Industry Association, which could be found at rnia.org. And there's a way to join, fill out a member interest application, and get involved. And there's a common body of knowledge. And they love the support and energy of as many people to help keep that association strong, healthy, and growing. And then, Adam, if people want to get the book, right? We talked about this book.
Yes.
I know it's on the website, the National Networker, where would they go? Would they just go and click? If they click there, it goes into where the publisher is.
Yes.
I know, which is the Happy Books. What's it called?
Happyabout.info, yeah. Yes, if you go to thenationalnetworker.com, along the right-hand side, you'll see the actual book itself, and you can click there to purchase your own copy, whether you want the ebook version or the hard copy.
And by the way, that just got me thinking. Happyabout.info, which is a place to buy books, of which the emergence of the relationship economy is there, featuring a section with Adam with his 10 laws of relationship networking. And by the way, did you know, Adam, that 40% of all the sales at McDonald's are Happy Meals? I just found that
there
out.
You go.
And in 1996, Webster's Dictionary had 396 misspelled words. Now, isn't that useless information?
What I wonder about it is who the person was that actually determined that. What that says about the kind of lifestyle they lead.
Oh, I hear you. And by the way, Adam, if people want to just get connected to you,
yes.
Okay, is there a number that we can give to people where they can call you, and is there an email address they can use to get right to you?
Sure. I can be reached at 215-945-3411. It is Philadelphia. It is the Eastern Time Zone for those international people. It's GMT -5. As far as an email goes, you can always reach me at adam@thenationalnetworker.com.
And what a treat to be with you today, Adam. And in closing, we always want to leave the listening audience thinking about something. I call them thinking points for connecting forward. Adam, what thinking point can you leave for the audience today?
Sure. Look at your networking as if it was a financial portfolio. Keep in mind your networking portfolio. Also keep in mind that without relationship capital, you have no financial capital. We all have relationship capital. It exists. Be cognizant of it and think about the actions and deeds that you choose every day to either raise or lower that score with those with whom you interact.
I love that, Adam. Thank you so much for coming on the show, and well said, and hope to speak to you soon.
Ron, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, my friend.
Thanks for listening to Beyond Networking. For more information or to subscribe to this podcast, visit smallbizamerica.com.
Small Biz America.